Welcome back to another episode of the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team. This week we're still working on the Rally Mini, and in particular I'm working on the windscreen wipers and trying to organise myself a little bit more in the workshop, and I'm going to chuck the engine in. When this was a Rallycross Mini, and when I used it for forward-only auto testing, it had a Perspex front windscreen and no windscreen wipers at all. So I had to rely on cleaning the screen between runs, and if I thought it was going to rain, I had to give it a good coat of Rain-X. But that's no good for a Rally Mini, so it kind of needs to go back to, well, sort of standard. Because I've fabricated my own bulkhead, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to mount my windscreen wiper motor. I'm going to use the later one with self-park. So then I've got 2 speeds and things like that, because I don't want to be faffing around. I have got somewhere one of the old school square motors. Although that would look good, it's not going to perform, is it? However, I was rummaging through all my parts. There you go, that. And with bits and bobs. I've got new right hand park arms, which is really good. I've got some new boxes. That's great. So I started putting them all together, and I went, hang on, that's not right. So I went and measured the Mark 1, and the reason I questioned it was these holes had been welded up by the previous owner, because when it was a Rallycross Mini, they just filled in all the things they didn't have, and of course they didn't use windscreen wipers on the Rallycross when it was a Rallycross car. So I sort of ferreted around and found out where I thought the holes should be, you know, and they're in the right place. There's, you know, I went and measured the Mark 1. But hang on, so are the windscreen wipers further apart on a later Mark 3, Mark 4 maybe, whenever they introduce these? And if that is the case, what do? What else? Oh yes, windscreen wipers. I have to thank everybody who commented on the last video about my quandary with the windscreen wiper holes. I've learnt so much during this week. Who knew? So again, thank you very much to everybody, and hopefully your name is ticking along the bottom as a bit of a thank you. But in particular, Craig 1010cc, he came out with some really good information, basically saying, yes, as everyone else said, you've got to cut this centre tube down and flare it using a flaring tool to the right gap. And those holes are in the right position. But the interesting thing that Craig said was about the pitch. I knew nothing. Of course, where the holes are different on later Minis, and again, not only do you have different windscreen wipers, but the pitch is completely different. So the gear that I've got in this one, I've cleaned everything up on this motor, but that is a 110. And it looks like the earlier Minis, because of the windscreen wipers, need a 120. And I did look at the gearing that I've got in the old square motor, but of course that's completely different. So if anyone's got one of those in a 120, I'd be very interested. But otherwise, I'm sure I can work something else out. So here we go. Got my motor all nice and clean. I've got the rack that's all been serviced, and I've put new boxes on it. But remember, I don't know if you remember from the previous episode. I'm going to get this out now. There we go. Anyway, I needed a 120. Look at that. This whole kit is actually designed for a TVR, but apparently fits that. See how that goes. Well, I want to get slightly more organised. I've got 3 tins of different types of grease, and so that I can apply them, I've got paint brushes, and I keep them in little plastic bags so they don't get all covered in gump. So for example, that's my copper grease brush, and that's supposed to go with my copper grease, but my workflow just isn't working. Do you know what I mean? I've got to do that. I was going, there has to be an easier way. Some of my friends said, why don't you just cut a hole in the top, stick the brush in. I don't know, is it going to work? Is it going to be easier than that? There's only one way to find out. Let's give it a go. Ah, no! Don't believe it. Well, that's scuppered that one, hasn't it? Oh, bugger. Oh, what am I going to do about that? It's my own fault. Should have done it on the pillar drill or something. Oh, what an idiot. Okay, something tells me this lid is the same. It is! Right. That one's almost empty, look. So, I'm going to sacrifice that lid. Okay, let's try again. It's a bit overkill, isn't it? I don't have any more lids. And it's raining. Never rains on the Isle of Wight. Just heard a little crack. Is it because I'm forcing it in with no lube? Woohoo! Okay. Back to the workshop. Come on! Yeah, look at that. Woo! See that? I got this at work. I was having a bit of a clear out, and I found this. It's look at it. It's got like a little wire, whatever you want to call those, eyelets for a shoulder strap, and the handle for carrying it. But I really like this. This is the locking mechanism. Isn't it? So that pin then goes through that bit there. Sweet, isn't it? But it's a bit beat up. It had old nuts and bolts in it. So yeah, I saw that and I went, you know what? That's going to be perfect for putting my grease in. And for the meantime, I think it's going to live there. Brilliant. That's going to help with my workflow, isn't it? Good. That's another job ticked off the list. It's almost 8 o'clock and I want to go in and see what Boris has got to say. He's probably going to say, Kev, you know you wanted to do motorsport in 2021. It ain't going to happen just yet, but we'll see. Now, this isn't the engine that you saw me strip down in a few episodes ago, or actually a long time ago. No, this actually is another engine. I've actually brought back my old Mini project, the one I used for autocross. My friend who I sold it to used it, decided he didn't want it anymore, so I went, yeah, go on, I'll have it back. Mainly because it came with a very nice engine. So just to give you a quick rundown on the engine, it's a 1275A+. It came with a Weber carb, roller rockers, a very nice Swift tune head. It's got a Qualf torque bias diff on it, straight cut drop gears, straight cut gearbox, competition drive shafts, all sorts of things. It's a very nice bit of kit. So the reason I went for this is purely down to time. The engine that I'm going to rebuild is going to go into Bernie the 1275 GT. That's actually where it was destined to go before I kind of got a bit carried away with it and stuck it in a race car. So this video you're watching now is a speeded up version of a video that I put on our Patreon page. I think genuinely it's about an hour and a half long and it's all done in real time. I also upload a midweek update video, so you really do stay up to date with what's going on within the team and the different project cars. So if you like behind the scenes and extra footage, please consider being a Patreon. I'll put the links down below. Now the only problem is, I've got another project car and I genuinely don't know what to do with it. So come on, stick in the comments, what shall I do with this Mini?